The knock at the door came like a gunshot, sharp, abrupt, and utterly final. It sliced through the quiet of my evening with surgical precision, and my pulse kicked into a gallop. For a moment I just stood there, staring at the door, heart pounding in my ears like a war drum. Some part of me knew, instinctively, that everything was about to change. When I opened it, Rachel stood on the other side, framed in the doorway like a ghost from a life I thought I still understood. Her face was a mask, devoid of expression, lips drawn in a thin, emotionless line. Beside her stood a man I'd never seen before, tall, clean-cut, wearing a smug sort of indifference that immediately made my skin crawl. And pressed close to Rachel's hip was a child, boy, no older than 5. His eyes, wide and unsure, met mine for a split second, and in that second I saw it. The resemblance was undeniable. Same sharp chin, same dark, watchful eyes. The twist in my gut was instant and sickening. Rachel didn't say a word. She didn't ask to come in. She stepped over the threshold with a rehearsed stiffness, as if this moment had played out 1,000 times in her head, and this was simply her final performance. She moved straight to the coffee table and dropped a thick stack of papers with a thud that echoed off the walls. Divorce papers. Dated. Finalized. I barely heard her voice when it came. Flat. Lifeless. Sign these. Pack your things. Leave. I stared down at the documents, my fingertips brushing over the ink like it would disappear if I touched it gently enough. My eyes blurred as I tried to absorb it, as if the weight of those words were pressing against my ribcage, threatening to break bone. Behind me, Adam stood frozen in the hallway. 16 years old, but already sharper than most grown men. His eyes, filled with quiet fury and confusion, darted between Rachel, the man, and me. He didn't say a word, but I could feel him vibrating with tension, his silence louder than any scream. "So that's it?" I asked, my voice quieter than I expected, like all the rage inside me had been wrapped in steel wool. Rachel didn't flinch. She crossed her arms and raised her chin slightly. "I've moved on," she said simply, gesturing to the man. "This is Andrew." Then, resting a hand on the boy's shoulder, she added, "And this is our son, Nathan." Our son. The words struck harder than any blow. The room seemed to constrict, the walls closing in as the air thickened with the weight of 5 years of deceit. Child. Conceived and raised while she shared my bed, my name, my home. But I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I locked it all behind my eyes and swallowed every ounce of fury. If Rachel wanted a clean break, she'd get one. But not without consequences. That night, as Rachel played house with her new family, I sat alone in my study, though not truly alone. Adam was there, silent at first, until he returned with something he'd found tucked behind the old bookshelf. It was a journal, a worn, leather-bound thing I hadn't seen before. "Dad," he said, holding it out to me, his voice taut with urgency, "you need to see this." Rachel's handwriting danced across the yellowed pages. The entries were old, 5 years and counting. I read each line with growing disbelief. They were filled with paranoia, guilt, and fear. Fear that I would find out. Fear that I would destroy her if the truth ever came out. Then I found the line that made my blood freeze. "If he ever finds out the truth about Nathan, he'll destroy me." She knew. She knew this day would come. And she'd spent years preparing for it, moving money, faking trust, building a life behind my back. But she underestimated me. Worse, she underestimated Adam. He found the journal. He found the crack in the facade. And together we set the plan in motion. Step 1: patience. I signed the divorce papers like a broken man. I played the role perfectly. Silent, defeated, compliant. Rachel's smirk that day would be the last one she ever wore freely. Step 2: strategy. I arranged a meeting with her lawyer under the guise of confusion. A few subtle questions, a few well-placed concerns, and soon I had access to every shell company, every hidden account, every quiet theft she'd committed over the years. Step 3: exposure. Rachel planned a dinner party. Course she did. A grand unveiling of her new life, her new man, her new son. The restaurant was packed. Laughter echoed off the high ceilings. The air was rich with wine, celebration, and the illusion of success. She stood beside Andrew, glowing with pride. Nathan sat between them, unaware of the storm circling his mother's perfect world. I walked in uninvited. All conversation ceased. The room fell still. Rachel went pale. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. I didn't answer her. I turned to Andrew. "Adam," I said. "Show her." Adam stepped forward and placed the journal on the table. The tension in the room thickened like a storm cloud. 5 years, he said, his voice clear, unwavering. 5 years of secrets. 5 years of lies. You hid him from Dad. But he's not Dad's problem. He never was. Rachel's hands trembled. Her eyes flicked to Andrew, panicked, pleading. Then I placed the documents on the table. Bank statements, hidden transfers, shell accounts, photographs, even recorded conversations. "Andrew," I said, voice like ice. "She lied to you too. She's been stealing from me for years. All while pretending to build a life with you." Andrew's face twisted into disbelief. He stepped away from her slowly, as if she had suddenly become radioactive. I trusted you," he murmured. "You told me he was gone, that you were left with nothing." Rachel's lips moved, trying to spin it to salvage something. But she was drowning. And I wasn't done yet. I turned to her so-called friends, gathered there to toast her new chapter. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, my voice carrying across the room, "this is my ex-wife. A woman who siphoned money from me, lied to everyone she knows, and kept a child hidden to serve her selfish ends. She thought she'd outplayed me." Smiled. Not with joy, but with the satisfaction of a man who'd reclaimed power. She forgot one thing. I'm always 10 steps ahead. I slid a flash drive across the table. It's all here. The theft, the fraud, the affair, and her own confession. By morning, the courts will have it. Rachel collapsed into her seat, eyes wide with disbelief. Andrew stepped back, stunned and silent. Whispers rippled through the room like wildfire. I leaned in one last time, my words quiet and cold. "You wanted me gone. Now you're the one with nothing." With Adam beside me, I turned and walked out. Each step away from that table felt like a chain breaking free. 5 years of deception, lies, and pain left behind with every footfall. Outside, the cool night air wrapped around us. Adam glanced up at me, searching my face. "Do you feel bad?" he asked softly. I looked straight ahead. "No," I said, the weight finally lifted. "Betrayal is an art. But so is revenge.